Checkmate king 2, this is white rook, over. Checkmate king 2, this is white rook, over. So we talked today a little bit about time, and how time is the utilization of time in your classroom, and how it is going to permeate everything, and really it's going to be the constant on which everything else hangs. And the interesting thing, of course, is that time is not a constant. It's actually, this is the past, there's the present. It's in different forms. It's constantly in different forms. But it's also finite because you can measure it. So it has that duality, and that's what makes it a beautiful vehicle to use in the classroom, because your use of time becomes finite. But there are infinite ways you can use it. You only have a certain amount of time during the day. You only have a certain amount of time during any particular part of your lesson for the day. And you only have a particular amount of time for those things that are not directly academic lessons. But they are lessons that can make kids smarter. And I think if you make them smarter, you would think that if people got smarter, then they would be more moral, what we consider moral. But what happens now is moral becomes a relative term. So because it is relative morality. Let's face it; it's just how it is, because people are all different. However, time is, and that's why time is beautiful, because it's relative as well. It's because it exists in more than one plane. Simultaneously, almost. Not simultaneously, but almost simultaneously. Because the only simultaneous thing about time is right now. But that's gone already. It's in the past. However, in your classroom, it's finite, because you do not have the kids forever. And each segment of your classroom, therefore, is divided into this one long block of time. So maybe you should look at it the next time you look at it. It's not I teach from 8 o'clock to 2:30. Maybe you should just convert it into minutes. How many minutes do I actually am I spending with these kids every day, and how am I gonna utilize those minutes to their advantage and to mine, and to mine first. This idea that the kid comes first is wrong. The teacher has to come first. You have to be confident and comfortable in the classroom before anything else can happen. And the way you do that is you utilize time. You're in control of it. You're in total control of time in the classroom. Total. What happens when is entirely up to you. And you only have a finite amount of it to use. That's why it's so important to think about how you're going to use it. How you're going to utilize it. And your overarching premise is that you want to use that time to make your students better. Now, sometimes it's going to be better at specific things. It's going to be better at history. How am I going to use the next 30 minutes in this classroom to make each of these kids in here a little better in history, to some degree, better than they are right now? So I have this 30 minutes, okay? Now, is it going to be information about history? Is that how I'm going to do it? Sure. They got to have information about history. Otherwise, they can't make decisions. If they don't know anything about the subject, they can't make any decisions about it. You can try, and people do it all the time. They do it all the time. They make decisions not based on information, but based on something else, based on emotion. And that's one way to live. That's a relative way to live. That's a relative morality. And you can't question it. I guess you can question it, though. Otherwise, if you don't question it, then you're never going to be a good teacher. If you don't think that you can make your kids better, okay, by things that you do, then you're never going to be great. You can be good. You can be functional. I think it's just a belief system. I believe I believe that every one of these kids can get better in some, and it's going to get better every single day in just a little bit of a way. Some of them it's going to be a little bit, and some of it's going to be a lot, but none of them it's going to be nothing. If you have a day in your classroom where there's a kid in your classroom that you have from 8:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon, and if you have that kid all that time, and you do not do one thing, you yourself as the teacher do not do one thing to make that kid better, then you haven't done 100% of your job that day. You've done a percentage of it, and some days you're not going to. Let's face it, you can't do it every single day. You can try. However, you can try, and you should try. And that's the beauty of the utilization of time. That's the beauty of it. Because you will always, even on your worst days, dude, woman, even on your worst days, you can carve out time during that day when things go like you want them to go. You can do it because you control time. Now, sometimes it might just be, some days, things are, beyond your control, except time. That's never beyond your control. But sometimes it seems to you what's happening in the classroom is totally outside of your control. But that is never true because you determine how time is used in the classroom. That's what you're hanging on. That's what you're hanging on. Let me give you an example, okay? You want to work with a small group, and you assign all the other kids to do something, and they don't do it. And you're trying to work with a small group, and they're not doing it. They're not. They're kids. They're going to not do it, okay? There's going to be times when they don't do it. And you got to love them for it. And you just tell them that. Hey, you know what? Hang on. Hold on. Hold on. For the next 2 minutes, I'm going to talk. And nobody else is going to talk. I am in charge of the next 2 minutes because I am in charge of how time is used in this classroom. That's my thing that I'm in charge of. So for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to talk and nobody else is. I'm in charge of time. That's why. I'm in charge of time. You do not talk for 2 minutes. You see that clock? Let's ask you a question. Do you see that clock? Do you see it? You're in charge of that, watching that clock. When I tell you to start, you got to tell me when 2 minutes is up. And you're the only one in this classroom that can talk. Nobody else. Nobody else. Just you. And the only thing you can say is tell me when 1 minute is up and when 2 minutes are up. Can you do that? Can you do that? Are you capable of doing that? I don't want to give you something you can't do. Can you tell me when 1 minute is up? I'll tell you what, here's my clock. Here's the timer. Set it for 1 minute. What do you mean you don't know how? Set it for 1 minute. You know how. You certainly act like you know everything, so let's see if you know that you don't know how. I can teach you how. But I'm not going to. Because it's my time now. And I'm not going to use my time to teach you something. So you teach yourself. You have 2 minutes to figure out how that clock works. 2 minutes. I'm gonna start talking. So by the time I get to 2 minutes, you better figure it out. That's your job. Somebody want to help him? Do you want help? Would you like some help? Because we always offer help. Always offer help. Always offer them the option of help. Would you like some help? Yeah. You want to pick somebody? You want me to pick somebody? It's up to you. Me or somebody you want me to do it? You want me to pick somebody? You want to pick somebody yourself? You will? You want somebody that's smarter than you? Or do you want somebody that's not? You want somebody that I would think you would want. How are you going to choose? I'll pick. Wait. Okay. Well, how are you going to choose? How are you going to choose? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. 2 minutes is up, okay? Stop. Give that thing back. All right, do your math. For the next 5 minutes, silently do your math. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'll help you. If you have a question, not raise your hand. I will get you help. If I can't help you, I'll get find somebody who can. In fact, that's what I'll do. I'll find somebody who can. He needs help on number 3. Can somebody help him on number 3? Go. Go. Right now. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, then time's up. See how it's utilized? It's real simple. It's real simple. Because now you're back in control of the classroom. Total control. And the only way you did it was you manipulated time for 2 minutes. You just manipulated the time, the use of the time. See, up until that time, they were using the time in a way you didn't want them to use it. But remember, you are in charge of time in the classroom. Checkmate King 2, this is White Rook.